Hi guys, this is Jiggy, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So take a look at these images, and I must say I love them, but it's something way beyond my comfort zone, and that's why admittedly I needed some help to do this. So in this video, aside from discussing how these images were created, I want to talk about giving credit and emphasis on where credit is due, and the importance of working a team that you can trust. The creation of any photograph may end with you clicking that shutter, but that process of creating it is a whole different ballgame by itself. Of course, there are different genres of photography like street, sports, events, and amongst others that this may not apply. But it is something we, as photographers, should always be aware of, and that is, it is not all about us. There are other creative people that have had a hand in what you or I have created, and let's not leave them out of the equation. Just to give you guys a brief background, this was a shoot for a lovely debutante who wanted an avant-garde Met Stylist shoot centered on heavenly bodies. Now, I was the official photographer of her debut, but I immediately told the client that this might be out of my comfort zone because my style is still very classic in nature, so I needed some help. It's a good thing though that they understood where I was coming from and asked me to get a team together. And the only person that I had in mind for this particular shoot is Kharu Jazmin. So I'll put a link to her deeds in the description below so you guys can find her. She's an amazing makeup artist, a stylist, and a creative director all in one. Basically, she could do anything, especially if it relates to this type of styling that we were looking for. Then little did I know, she and her husband, Vanjo Alvaira, started a broadcasting and media production company called Orphic and Vim. And they would be perfect for the video that we are thinking about to accompany this shoot. Because aside from the photographs that we wanted to create, we wanted a video too that will introduce her when she comes out on stage for her debut. Then finally, to complete the team, they brought in a guy named JoeRig to do an original score, and this is what we came up with. So how I wish I was able to create a BTS video of that BTS video, but unfortunately during that time, this YouTube channel was still not in existence. So let me just do the next best thing and tackle each and every layout as it is. So the first layout, we entitled it to be Vespers. Vespers is a sunset evening prayer of service. So what Kharu did is she actually did an ode to that. So taking a look at this BTS now, you could see that the robe that Kharu created was longer than normal because when we were discussing it during pre-production, I said I wanted her on top of an apple box to give that illusion of grandeur. So we really made it longer than it's supposed to be. But the key to this particular shot would be the candles because it will just tie in the entire concept. But the problem with those candles was that if you had it in her shoulder, the tendency it would burn her face. So what Kharu did, and this one she created out from scratch, and look at how these candles were directed. They were directed away from the face so that it doesn't burn the subject, and at the same time we had more time to shoot, because if it was very uncomfortable for the subject, then we would have to be rushing the shoot. So again, those are the little things that are very, very important when shooting. So of course, the dad didn't believe us. He wanted to try out the candles himself. So once we got his approval, we were able to start shooting, and we lit up the candles like this. So I had my camera, the A7R Mark III, and of course, Kharu as a creative director was on the side giving directions on poses, and at the same time, I would actually give my 2 cents worth, like, can you bring up your hand this way, your fingers a little bit off. But the beautiful thing about this is that we were all in sync, so we knew exactly what we were doing. No one was overstepping any boundaries. Every little thing that we adjusted was something that the other also wanted to do. So it was really beautiful. So I had one light here. So I was doing some tests, and I decided maybe I just needed this light to be a separator in the back and from her in the background, because the light from the candle and the existing ambient light was enough to be able to give that source of illumination as my main light. So this was the first output. So you could see here that the light was here in the back. It was a good starting point. I wasn't really too happy with the position of the light. Yes, it did give a bit of separation, which was nice, but it didn't do anything for the entire theme. So what I did was I asked my assistant to bring up the light higher. And if you notice with this particular image, it was still gelled so that it matches the color of the ambient light to make the light look unseen. But for this particular scene, I think I wanted the light to look ethereal, so I put it from above. And I changed the color of my light to make it blue, because we know for a fact that if you make the light blue, it will look more heavenly. So in order for me to make it blue, all I needed to do was take out the gel filter, because since my white balance was set to the existing ambient light, which was in a warmer tone, immediately my light that was color corrected for daylight will turn blue. So by lifting it up higher and making your shot horizontal, this is the image that we came up with. So don't you think she looks so ethereal? Look at all the streaks of light because of the hazers, the fog that we were able to create. Now, aside from this, I also wanted to do a bit of tight shots. This was supposed to be a time of prayer. Of course, we had her pose as if she were praying. But I still kept my light, my artificial light, to be blue, just so that you can, again, have that heavenly look to it. Final photo was just a very, very simple photo. I put the light behind her again to be able to give a bit of separation. I put the CTO back so that the light feels unseen, so it looks like it's part of natural ambient light. All right, so layout number 2. We entitled this one Mea Kalpa. Mea Kalpa means through my fault in Latin. So look at what our amazing stylist and creative director did. She created this crown. She painted the face of the subject gold, just for everything to blend in. The gown, it's gold, silver, and black. What else can you ask for, right? So what I did was I brought out the black background and I lit her as simply as I could. Meaning, you know how, if you guys have watched some of my previous videos, I just love the clam shape lighting. And with this particular shoot, that's all I did. All I did was use the existing light that this studio had. It was just two fluorescent lamps to put together to form the shape of a clam. Now, the reason why I did that is because I just wanted the focus to be on the subject, because this is all about raw emotion. This is about feeling remorseful. This is feeling apologetic. This is very serene. So the entire studio was blacked out also, just to give her that emotion, make her feel it. And at the same time, our creative director was on the side giving some instructions on how to pose, and me from behind the camera. So here you could see how it actually looked from the point of view of the subject. We made her turn her back to the light so that we could shoot it. You saw it in the video earlier. So this was the output. Notice how everything was just focused on her. Everything was just gold, shimmering, black. It popped out from the black background. We had the background far enough so that, and the light near enough so that through the inverse square law, everything would just be blacked out in the back. What more can I say? Everything with this particular image was really just about making the subject feel the emotion that we wanted her to feel. So we started off with this one, very simple, very heartfelt, and then we made her close her eyes. But look at all the styling and detail that came into this shot. So again, I shot this with my A7R Mark III, and I think this one was with a 100 STF lens. Beautiful, beautiful lens also from Sony. And look at that. Look at the makeup. Look at the way everything was just put together. And all three layouts we did in one day. So what the makeup artist did, which was Kharu also at that time, was from every layout, she removed the makeup and started again from scratch. And we were able to finish this in 6 hours. Imagine that. So here's another one. So you notice how all these images just portrays emotion. It's all about emotion. But when we got this one, I decided, we saw some frames inside the studio that we are shooting in, and we decided to play around. So these are the three images that we came up with. So we made her look like a painting, and then we put another frame, so it's a frame within the frame. This is just playing around out of concept already, but it still makes for good images, right? All right, the last layout is serif. Serif is basically an angel that's high up there, but we wanted to make a twist out of it. And we decided to start off the shoot with a fallen angel rising her way up. Now, rising her way up is something very similar to our debutante, which, of course, as her debut, it is basically her becoming a woman, so coming out of her shell, rising. So that was the concept behind that. So to light it up, what I did was I just basically lit up everything. I wanted it as bright as possible, but still maintain the contrast. So the light that I used was the same clam-shaped lighting, but further away, so that it just illuminates the entire room. Plus, I had another light, my Photix R4, on the other side, just to be able to balance out the light. Again, with this particular scene, we added more smoke than normal, more haze than normal, to make it feel more heavenly. And so, as you can see in the first image, we wanted her sitting down, fallen, very, very down. And then afterwards, we started putting some twigs, shooting her through it, and just playing around. If you notice here, the light is coming from the left side, but we're still getting very nice contrast, but the light is beautifully soft. The effect we are getting is because of the haze, but we still have the contrast that we were looking for. So it was that balance between haze and light to be able to get that type of contrast and this type of look that we wanted. And then here, before she becomes her angelic self, we wanted to put her in a corner, again, make her feel how it is to be alone, to have fallen. Basically, it also has something to do with life, about how in life you'll always experience ups and downs, and you should be able to get yourself out of that corner that you might have boxed yourself in. So from there, we did another layout. We did another shot with, if you notice from here, the twigs are actually here on the right side. So from the left, I went to the right to be able to shoot her through the twigs. And finally, when everything is said and done, we threw feathers. When we threw feathers, we just made her pose, and we got the entire team together. I think we were a team of 5 then. Everybody holding on to the feathers and just say, okay, 1, 2, 3, throw it, and she just held on to her pose. And this was the final image. Okay? So there, as you can see, we are actually only as good as the team we have around us. Working with people, or working together with people that you trust, will always make things fun, and this will show off in the output. Now you may say that this is only applicable to maybe to high-end productions. Well, to a certain degree, yes, you are correct. But from the very beginning, have this notion in mind. Learn how to talk to your makeup artist and subject. Have a clear vision and make sure that everybody's on the same page. And while you are shooting, listen to them, confer with your makeup artist, and get your model involved. Ask them what they think. They may have suggestions that could actually transform an image from being a good one to a great one. And lastly, always give them credit if they deserve it. So I would like to hear your thoughts about all these things that I said, so please do leave them in the comment section below. I really do enjoy reading and having conversations with you guys there. And don't forget to like this video, and if you enjoyed it, please do subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see more of the images that I've created, feel free to follow me on Instagram. It's at Jiggy Alejandrino.